live. It's Friday, man. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Hey, Greg. How you doing? Good to see you. Kent, how you doing, man? Good. All right. Friday. So we're going to compete today and play football, which will be fun. And then they'll get a little bit of a day off, and we'll be back at it on Sunday. So what do we got? He's good. Yeah, he's going to be in concussion protocol, so let that do its work, you know what I mean? But it was good to see that he's okay, you know what I mean? I thought that Drew Krieger and his staff, you know, being on the field with that type of injury, the precautions you got to take and taking emotion out of it and making sure that he's safe, I thought they did a really good job. I told them that. That was pretty much clinic. Because you get a pit in your stomach when you see that, obviously, you know what I mean? But they did a really good job. But he's okay. He's in good spirits. He's back in the building. It's all good.
Coach, Pat's coming on Monday. What's the practice schedule?
Say it again, Don.
Pats are coming on Monday, correct?
I don't know that. Whatever the rules are, that's what we do.
How do you balance with the day off and then Sunday and then leaving Monday, Tuesday? What's the tempo look like?
Yeah, our tempo we kind of keep the same cadence. If you guys see, like as we try to adapt them. To what they do in a game week. So how we do it, you know, in a game week, it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is a walkthrough, and Sunday you play. So we keep that same cadence in camp. And it's really for multiple reasons. I'm not going to get into all of them because I'll bore you guys. But I like coming after a day off of sparring, we call it. And that kind of gets them grooved up again. I think it's a safe way to get a lot of reps, a lot of corrections, a lot of development there, but you're also making sure that we're safe, and then we typically go fast and fast. So that's what we're doing today too. Good question, Donnie.
How was Mac Wilson taken to Mike linebacker spot?
Excellent.
Sense that he's more vocal, needing to be more vocal?
Yeah, you know, he's extremely smart and intelligent, and probably what you're getting at. You know, he didn't do that last year for us. He played the will. And we kicked around the tires of what we wanted to do coming into this year, and we thought that he would do that well. So we moved him to Mike, and he's playing Mike for us. He played Mike in the spring. He's playing Mike now. I think he told you guys he's calling the defense right now. All those inside linebackers have it in their helmets, so we train all those guys. But one guy's got to call the defense, you know what I mean, in the huddle. So right now he's doing a really good job of it. You know, he's got really good command. And, you know, we've talked about before, people that haven't done it before, you got to evaluate that and make sure that it's clean, because there's some defensive calls that I get mad at Nick. I feel like they can get wordy and long at times. It's like, are we John Gruden playing offense right now, Nick? You know what I mean? Like, you know, you've heard those play calls. Like, good luck trying to memorize those. Quarterback position is unbelievable what goes on in their ear. But we do a good job of keeping it simple. But you do have to get it, say it to the defense, make sure they all hear it, make sure you give the full call, get lined up. And then the second phase of that is after you break the huddle, we put a lot on the Mike linebacker's plate with mechanics, you know, front mechanics, back end mechanics. So he's responsible for a lot of communication, and he's got caddies out there. I call them caddies, you know, he's got people helping him. And ideally everybody communicates. But he's responsible for a lot of that, and he's done a really good job. He really has. I mean, it was one of the things I was looking at in spring, and it was very clean and good. And so, you know, when that happens, I'm like, he's just going to get better and better at it. So I feel really comfortable with him, and really comfortable with all the other guys too. That's cool.
The other side of that, what does Akeem need to do to excel at that will spot?
Oh, he's playing Will and Mike, you know, so is Cody. We cross-train all those guys. You know, Mike and Will, we've talked about that. Yeah, yes, they're different positions because where they align, they're really mirrored positions to me. It's like talking about the safeties, free and strong. They kind of do the same thing. You know, they're at some point in certain calls, they're doing the same thing. So Akeem's done a really good job first grasping our system. Obviously, the first year in the system, Max in his second year, Cody's in his, Mike his first year. Owen in his third year now, I think, right? So all kind of different levels of understanding and how they're functioning, but they're all doing a really good job. I feel good about all those guys where they're trending right now. The competition for the different spots is heavy. It'll continue to be that. But I like where that group is at. I think Christian's done a really good job. Christian being a new guy, a new coach for us. First year in our system, there's a lot going on, and it's hard to be a linebacker coach here because of the coordinator. That's his baby. So he's got to be on it. He's got to be on it.
With a guy like Will Johnson, I know you guys do a good job in terms of moving cornerbacks in and out and giving them all looks and seeing what they have, but he obviously has earned some higher level snaps out there already. What have you seen out of him that makes you say, okay, we want to see how that goes right off? Is it just a test, or have you already seen stuff from him that you're saying he could handle this role?
No, I think all of those corners, I thought Keytrell had a really good day yesterday. All those guys are competing for playing time. We move them right and left, field boundary. We aren't going to match people right now, but we'll get into that as we get going. Because I do believe they got to be able to play right and left, especially if you're matching people. But, he's smart, so he's picked up everything really, really quickly, in my opinion. And he did some really good things in spring, and he did some really good things yesterday. You know what I mean? So production gives you the chance to get more reps. You know what I mean? And, he's competing for his role, though, right now. I would say that. Roles are not defined.
You talked about how you kind of deploy your day, hours-wise, to Bob yesterday with film study. When it comes to you and Monty, what's the dynamic of that in training camp when it comes to roster construction and the conversations you have to have in addition to just coaching?
Yeah, I was telling Mark that very efficient communication. Like we talk every day. But there's not like a set time that we talk. It's when he wants to talk, he comes and talks. When I want to go talk, I go and talk. You know what I mean? And but it's typically, hopefully he's a lot more thought out than I am. But he's thinking about everything all the time. And I'd like to think so am I. You know what I mean? And I think that you have to do that in the two seats that we're in because it's our responsibility to get it right. But I think, we see the game similarly, not the same all the time, but similarly. So that makes it pretty easy, as far as when you're communicating about players or, additions or whatever it may be. We're kind of on the same path, which makes it pretty cool because then you can be pretty efficient with, how you communicate and what's being said and decision-making, truthfully. What I always appreciate about Monty, I'm the guy that if you say read a book and get the answer, I read the book and get the answer. There's other people out there that read the book and get the answer, but then read 4 more books to validate the answer. He's like that, So you missed that chapter, JG. Yes, I did. You're right. Got to read more. But so that's cool because I know it's a good checks and balances,
How much of a benefit is it to have Baron Browning in training camp this year? Traded for him last deadline. Now you get him in the program for the entirety of the summer.
Yeah, great to see you too, Johnny. I hope you had a good summer. Looking fit as always. Yeah, huge. Because now you can see even I'll give you an example. Like in the meeting room, like the questions he's asking, it's like, yes, dude, those are the questions you should be asking. You know what I mean? So you can tell his understanding is way above where it was when he got here. And when you get, I never went through it, but talking to guys that get to a new team mid-year as the year going on, it's hard, man. There's a lot going on. All the things that you guys would know, what would be going on. But and I thought he did an excellent job of getting caught up last year and being able to play well for us. And now there's just a level of comfortability, and he's getting to the 221A now. You know what I mean? And Matt's done a really good job with him and that entire room. Nick has his hand in that room, obviously. Matt's coordinating with Debo. Those rooms got to work together. But Barron specifically, I think, is doing a really good job. He's playing how we want him to play. He understands his skill set, how he can win. He's a guy that's versatile now too. You're going to see him line up in some different spots. Probably shouldn't spill the beans, but I want to see him do some different things because I think he has a skill set to do it.
With Monty, he seems to be a very active GM. He's on the field all the time. Yesterday he's watching practice 20, 30 yards back. Him being out there, him seeing everything kind of in real time like that, what does that add to your conversations? How does it help kind of what you guys do?
Yeah, you'll see him sometime. It's his baby. So he's gonna look over it. I love it. I love when Michael's out there too. You know what I mean? He's out there a lot too. I love that. Sometimes I'll go talk to Monty on the field about certain things. Sometimes not, you know what I mean? But he's got an eye for it. That's why he's in the seat that he's at. He's got a talented eye for what he's looking at and what he needs to evaluate and make decisions on. So that's cool. But that's just one piece. On the grass is one piece, and like Bob, we alluded to, the tape's the kind of the next piece. You know what I mean? So there's no one that's watching more tape than Monty.
You told us yesterday you're still trying to get to know Calais better.
Mm-hmm.
What have you found out about him that you didn't know that you really like, that you didn't already know?
The thing that jumps out to me for being being around older vets that have done, that have played at such a high level. I would have bet my car on this, but you don't know. He is super, super caring about his teammates. And that's really cool. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of our mantra, team over you, right? And he really is he is not about himself. He is about the team. And a lot of guys, truthfully, to make it as long as he has, they start to become, as they get a little bit older, about themselves. That whole self-preservation thing going on. I get it. He is not like that at all. So that's been really cool to see. Why I say I would have bet my car when we acquired him, that's what we heard, but you never know until he gets in your building. You know what I mean? Everyone changes as their career goes, 1 year you're a good dude, 1 year not so much, you know what I mean? And he's a really good dude. He's a really good teammate, and he cares about his teammates, which is awesome.
Coach, just about the offense. I was going to ask about the offensive line, Coach. They're not hitting right now, right? So, but it's all about communication and the team within the team. How is all that mesh going?
Yeah, Greg, watch it today. You're right, because we're not in pads, but man, it's physical. It's physical. They're doing a really good job. I think you see the kind of the different guys in and out. We'll have some different guys in and out of the ones, the twos and the threes. We like to mix them, go play right, go play left. You got to be able to do that. But, from a standpoint of communication, spotting the run game the right way, pass pro, who are we going to, where are the combos going to. Fry, I think, has done a really good job. He's a new coach, so he's had to learn our system, and he's brought some pretty cool, unique little tweaks with him from his experiences that really kind of synced up with what the couple changes that we wanted to make. Is because who we have. You know what I mean? So that's what moving forward into this year. It's like, hey, can we do this a little bit better? Should we change this to do this a little bit better? And he's had experience with some of those things. And some different ways of doing it, and that's been really cool to see. And the gel of him already with Drew and the whole offensive staff, and then with the players in the meeting room has been phenomenal. We lost a really good one. We acquired a really good one, and Cookie's doing a great job too. He really is. It's his third year now. Chris, the assistant O-line coach, he's doing a great job with those guys, and I'm glad. I'm happy where that room is trending. I will say that. But let's see the pads get on too.
Right. Is there like a green dot position? Is it just the center? Does the O-line have?
They all communicate, but I would say it like this: communication works inside to outside. So Yelda is the most communicative. Paris probably the least, but Paris still has to communicate. Those tackles still have to communicate with the guards, and they got to hear it, but it works inside out. But as far as the green dot, if you would say, the guy that Kyler is most in sync with is Yelda.
Yeah. And last one for me on the line. Paris It's like the first time he's going to play the same position 2 years in a row, like since high school.
Mm-hmm.
How excited are you to see what he's got in him for this?
Very, yeah. I'm not going to make power statements and throw things out there, but I think he has a really, really high ceiling. I really do. And I'm looking forward to seeing him work towards that every day, because I think it's Mars, So hopefully that wasn't a power statement, but he's a really good player that's ascending. And to your point, now it's going to be cool to see him because I do really think that he's really comfortable at left right now. Just some of the things that he's doing through just 2 days, but even in OTAs, you know what I mean? But the experience of playing all the games on left, you saw that kind of, carry over into spring and now. And that's going to be really cool to see where he takes his game. And we need him to.
With Trey Benson's development, do you envision him being able to take a little bit more off of James' workload than he did last year?
Yeah, we'll put whoever out there we think, to get it done, you know what I mean? But Trey's another one that, we acquired him for a reason. I feel really good about him. That whole room is doing a good job. There's major competition in that room, because we got some good backs and they all have different skill sets. But they're all smart. They can, run the rock. They play fourth down. Most of them, and they're all competing to define their role. You know what I mean? But I think Trey's going to take a step. I do.
Left tackle is such a foundational position for a team. What kind of traits does Paris have that kind of allows him to be that guy, that pillar of this team? Not just
Yeah, I say big dancing bear, man. He's very athletic. He's powerful, and at the end of the day, if you boiled it down, move your guy in the run game and block your guy and don't let him hit the quarterback. You know what I mean? So, and that's going versus all kinds of different people, and he can do those things at a high level.
Coach, you mentioned Coach Cook in the offensive line. How beneficial is it to have that bridge with a new, Fry coming in to have Cook to lean on?
Huge. Yeah, huge. Yeah, I mean that was a really good sounding board for Justin with Chris, in there because they work together. You know what I mean? It's just like two DB coaches. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, like you got to be the outside linebacker coach in our system, the outside linebacker coach, and the D-line coach. Like they get you. Everyone has to work together. But I think that Chris has done a really good job because he's got a mastery of our system. Where he got Justin caught up to speed, and he knows the players too. So he knows, things that each guy needed to work on in a developmental plan, what they've struggled with, where they need to go to hit their ceiling as a player. So very glad we have him.
Coach, it seems like Guardian Cap numbers have increased as the league has introduced it from a few years ago. There's a decent amount of guys wearing them in training camp. I'm just curious, are those any conversations that you have with your staff, and do you have any opinions on the Guardian Cap?
No, I think they're good if they're lowering head injuries, so that's cool. I thought that they just, I think they mandated now the skill guys wearing them, right? So that's probably why you see a little bit more. I think there is one helmet or a couple helmets that you can wear that you don't have to wear them. So we're trying to get our guys in that. We get a study at the league meetings, and I was very pleased about most of our guys. We were in the top percentages of guys wearing the right helmets that are recommended to keep them safe. And, our guys, I do talk about that. I hit on that because health is important, you know what I mean? But and we want those guys to protect their head. But and it's interesting how some helmets are safer than other helmets, you know what I mean? So we educate our guys. Schwim does a really good job, equipment staff. Schwim does a really good job. That's going to be my next job. Schwim and his group do a really good job of educating our guys, knowing the why when they start to ask questions, and getting our guys in the right stuff.
Coach, you ever had a conflict with Monty? I'm curious, how that worked itself out. Like, you really want this guy, but he really wants that guy. How do you guys work through those kind of?
I don't know if it works like that, Greg. It's probably, yeah. I can't think of where we had a conflict like that. We might see a player a little bit differently. We might see the draft, free agency, what this guy's value is a little differently. But, there's never a decision that I make or never a decision that he makes that we're not in lockstep.
It sounds like you guys are really aligned.
and
Yeah.
that probably gives you a lot of comfort when you're evaluating
Pretty
players.
much, yeah. I say too, what's cool is, like, he's not looking over his shoulder and I'm not looking over mine, which is cool,
What kind of boxes are you looking for Owen to check off?
Playmaking, I want to see him cut it loose and make plays, truthfully. He knows what to do. It's his third year now. He's played good ball for us. I want to see at the point of attack, does he make it? Does he make it? You know what I mean? And that's all of our guys, truthfully. But he's a guy that I got my eye on as far as, because he can do it, man. But when we're there, do we make it?
How do you balance looking at a guy who might have more experience and then a young player who might have maybe a little bit more athleticism given his tenure, and figuring out the right kind of playing time, especially early on for rookies?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, loaded question there, Johnny. That's a good question. It's hard, you know what I mean? And I would say this, like, we're always going to fall back on, like, what's the best thing for the team, and I know that's kind of a boring answer, but it's the truth, like, even when you're comprising or composing the 53, like, you got to blend that too, and then I don't worry about, I'm aware, but it's really not in my thought process, the business aspect of it too, which Monty balances, you know what I mean? So he's got to handle that, but they're competing for their roles, and if they have a role, and they have a role on game day and they can play and help us win, they're going to play. That's who we play. You guys have seen that since we've been here, you know what I mean? Like, it's compete for your role, and if you get a role, you'll play.
When it comes to Zaven Collins, he's entering his 5th year. You guys gave him a 2-year extension. Just what do you want to see from him in his development?
Yeah, consistency, development. I think he's done he looked really good in spring. He looked good yesterday. I think, like, for development wise, kind of like Owen, just cut it loose. If I had to, and he's heard me say this, so it's not like I'm coaching him right now, but he likes to critique everything, not all the time. Just cut it loose, you know what I mean? Because he's got the skill set to do it. We've seen him be a highly productive player. He's been a really good player for us. We utilize him in different roles because he's super smart, and he's got this, like, really unique unicorn skill set, for being as big as he is, how he can move and his understanding of the game and what we're asking him to do. But I think he's going to take off too. I really do. Okay, thank you. Have a good weekend.